Welcome to Trinity Radio. I'm Braxton Hunter, and over there is Jonathan Pritchett.
In the much more awesome space.
It's a pretty incredible space. It's a pretty incredible
and
space.
And you finally made the people happy that I have. And nobody's complaining about my volume either. We're getting it together. Right?
This is
Patreon money at work.
This is actually not true, Pritchett. There are people that complain that we're still too quiet.
Okay.
So I don't. Maybe I can just turn us both up a little bit. And
there you
that'll
go.
Be better. Yeah. All right. So here we are, and today we're going to be taking a look at some comments from YouTube. YouTube comments section. Everybody does the comments section. We haven't done it since 2019. I happen to know. But we're going to do it today. But we're also going to get to your questions and comments in the live chat, because we definitely appreciate those of you who are here live. And we do privilege super chats, although we're going to try to get to everyone's question, or as many questions as we can. And but we're going to begin with some questions from the comments section, or some statements.
Before we get to that, I do want to say to our good friend Nick, the New Testament theologist, that we are sorry. We are not ducking you. We are going to come on your channel. We have had a busy week here at Trinity College of the Bible and Theological Seminary, in which you can go check out our website at Trinitysem, that's Trinitysem.edu, if you want to further your theological education with the most awesome faculty on the planet. But we've just been busy, so man, we're not ducking you. We're going to get on it. And Nate, I saw your Instagram post. Go resubscribe now. I'll be watching.
All right.
I have my phone.
So with that,
for when Braxton.
By the way, we've had some great videos this week. Real quick, you can get Tim Stratton talking about why Molinism is biblical, and you can get Michael Icona talking about ghosts. I'm going to tell you what. There is a story that involves Michael Icona and an altar call that he gave.
Yes.
That is awesome. And then there are some story. Do you know Michael Icona, his own lips, at least about certain times in his house, he said it became a haunted house. Okay. You want to go watch that video, but that's another video. We're going to start today with something else. And that is a comment from the YouTube comments from not more than about 13 hours ago, from one Nelson Baker 88. I love this comment, Pritchett. The comment says, I'm a happily married Christian man. And I saw his picture. He's adorable. But I have to say, I could not concentrate during this dialogue because of how healthy and toned both Pritchett and Brax
That's got to make you
look.
feel good for putting in all the work. See, I've been
Come
there,
on.
buddy. I've been there, buddy, and I feel for you because it sucks going through what you're going through. But when you get to the end of it.
Today, as of today, Pritchett, 40 pounds exactly I've lost.
Nice.
40 pounds. I don't say that I do say that partially to brag. It's like 20% brag, you know?
No, you should brag. That's a tough thing to do.
But the rest of it is just motivate. It's way more than 20%.
For men of
brag.
a certain age, it gets a lot hard. Because I was in my early 40s. I was about, how old are you? 42? 41?
41. But
yeah.
I'm on gender-affirming therapy, but the kind that affirms my gender I was born with.
Wasn't on any, in fact, I got off all my meds when I got in shape, but... I appreciate the comment, Nelson Baker.
Yes, that was excellent. We
Nelson
love
Baker
those kinds of comments.
Yes, flattering comments that won't make my wife jealous.
Now, here's a comment from a critic. Vahan McHugh says 2 weeks ago, reading the comments. Now, by the way, this was on the video with, we had Dr. Jones, Dr.
Clay Jones,
yeah, on about death and about the problem of evil. And Vahan says, reading the comments was a time saver. I don't need to watch this piffle. And I thank the text contributors from my black hardened heart. So what this person, I understand to be communicating, is they opened up the video, they looked at the comments, they saw that a bunch of atheists didn't like the video. And so they said, thank you. Now I don't have to watch this piffle. Now, this is a symptom, nay, an indication of what I consider to be wrong-headed thinking, because this is the kind of thinking that says, I'm no longer necessarily interested in hearing what the other side has to say. I am only interested in seeing what my side thinks about this video and what I'm supposed to then later say perhaps about this video.
So letting the comment section do his thinking for him.
I'm not saying that is what's happening with Valhan or Vohan or Vahan McHugh. But I am saying it certainly appears that way when you make. Here's the comment again. Reading the comments was a time saver. I don't need to watch this piffle. And I thank the text contributors from my black hardened heart.
Yeah, we get a lot of comments though, so sometimes it can actually take longer to read all those comments than to watch the video at like double speed or whatever. But let me take up for Vaughn here. I'm gonna be nice.
Is it just Vaughn? Is that your guess?
Vaughn McHugh. I'm gonna take over. I'm the guy who famously said, and people poo-pooed this comment, but I said, yes, you can judge a book by its cover. There is an infinite number of YouTube videos, just like there's an infinite number or nearly infinite number of books. And if you look at it and you're like, you read some blurbs and you're like, nope, I'm going to give that a pass because I do that with a lot of books.
Okay, fair enough. So today I'm the bad cop and you're the good cop, but it is important.
On that comment, because I mean, if he wants to just see and come to the conclusion, I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings because I don't know who this is, nor do I care.
It's Vahan McHugh.
Well, again, well, now I know his name, but I still don't know him, and I don't care. So if you don't want to watch, don't watch the video. If you just want to read, this tells me that he is more interested in poop posting than he is in actually engaging like.
But your point, but we're making the same point. But your point is that's fine sometimes, and my point is, what the heck, man?
Yeah, but here's the thing: what if I made a video? I would get all, but I see where you're coming from, because if I made a video backing up my quote and I just sit there and read covers and blurbs of books and said, nope, I'm not going to read that, and here's why, because these, so-and-so endorsed this book and that person tells me all I need to know about it.
Right.
If I did that, you know how much anger I would incur from the internet? It makes it almost worth doing, and I need content for Trinity Radio Extra. So that, and I have a lot of books on my shelf that I don't bother to read. So we'll go through that.
Oh, right. Video. Thank you, Gregory Fisher. Oh, that's not where that's supposed to be. Oh, we're not on the right screen. It doesn't matter. We're here now. This is what we're doing. Yeah, it fits. Has Braxton lost weight the right way or the messy way? I did. I don't know what the messy way is. Basically what I did was, and are you ready for the secret? This isn't what Pritchett told you. This is the big secret. Here it is. Don't listen to anyone else that tells you otherwise unless it's a medical doctor. But what has happened to our windows? Everything has gone wrong. But here's the secret. You have to eat less calories and you have to burn more calories. You have to eat less calories. You have to burn more calories than you eat. It's simple math.
That's all I've ever said.
That's it. That's all there is to it.
You don't watch my channel. That's all.
I know what you say. You say it to my face.
I've argued with Robert Geiler over this because he denies Kaiko as that's the beginning and end of the story. And I'm like, I love you, Robert, but no, it's beginning and end of the story. I have a whole 6-pack abs routine that will give everyone 6-pack abs. Here are the exercises you need to do. The first exercise is called gas pedals.
They didn't ask how you lost weight. They asked how it's my turn. This is my day.
6-pack abs for everybody.
Nobody wants it.
Number 1, gas pedals. When you see a fast food restaurant, drive past it. That's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 is dodges. When you're in a community gas station or you're at the grocery store, dodge the processed foods and candy snack aisles, okay? Exercise number 3, fork put downs. Put down the fork after you've eaten less than last time. Those 3 exercises will get you well on your way. It's good advice.
That's fine. Yeah. And Kevin
O'Connor and do some crunches.
Is down 30. Lots of people saying they lost weight.
The pull-up king, the guy who bested me in pull-ups.
Nick is upset about
and
things.
Has a power rack and cool stuff.
Don't ruin Braxton's glow, he says. Yeah, what are you trying to ruin my glow for?
I'm not. I'm trying to offer fitness advice.
But they've heard all your fitness advice. If it would have worked for them, it would have already worked.
Not 500 subscribers yet. Still waiting. Go to Theology Geeks Fitness on YouTube and subscribe. Give me over 500 people. I know some of you watching are not. Okay. You don't even have to watch anything. I just want subscribers.
This is a substantial comment here.
Okay.
This is actually someone named Coffee Beverage who has posted this on 2 videos. And really, I wanted to do this primarily so we could talk about this. Hey, Braxton and Jonathan, Coffee Beverage says, and everyone else, I'm hoping to become a somewhat regular viewer. I get that y'all and the good people down in the comments have probably had terrible experiences with non-believers before. I've had terrible experiences with both non-believers and believers.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, the worst I've ever gotten was from people after my Calvinism debate that were like the 5 people that thought that our opponents said something, and they were like, "Yeah, you go get them."
Oh, they said
heretics and all
something.
that. Yeah. Well, they said plenty, but not anything worth responding to. I spent like a minute in my rebuttal dismissing what
But
they
Christians
said.
were mean to you.
Yeah, I mean they're like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
I don't
happens.
consider that a terrible experience. I think it's funny, but if by that he means people have been saying nasty things, we get that daily.
Yeah,
we're impervious to it. So
I get that y'all in the good people as Terry explained. Okay, so I hope to set a different example. To put all my cards on the table, I am an agnostic, but an atheist with respect to Christianity. I have a couple of questions I was hoping anyone could answer for me. All right, here's number 1. Do you think someone who is not currently and has never been a Christian, and perhaps not that religious, if at all, is at all reasonable to consider a miracle worker to possibly be an extraterrestrial before considering she could be divine? Now, what I want to say with respect to this is might surprise some people. So let's talk a little bit about things that are reasonable and rational to believe. For example, I think this is the example that comes up quite a bit. I think this was the one in Rose's paper, but the example of like you, Pritchett, here that I'm about to get on a plane to go across the Atlantic. We've done this before. And so I get on the Atlantic, I talk to you, I hang up because you're the last person I call, right, instead of my wife. And then I get on and I fly across the Atlantic, but somewhere in there there's a plane crash. And you hear that there's a plane crash, and actually you pay attention, and after 30 hours, they've never located anybody alive. All right? You're rational to conclude from that it's reasonable for you to believe I'm probably dead. All right? That's reasonable.
right.
It is also reasonable for me out there clinging to a life raft, seeing the planes way off in the distance and screaming as if that's going to help. It is reasonable for me to believe that I'm alive, right? Yeah. So both people can be rational and reasonable. And yes, if the only thing we know is this guy did some amazing things, if that's all we know, then I don't know what's a reasonable explanation for that. Maybe that he says he's a miracle worker. We have some reason to believe so. At least he says that. That's at least a part of the explanation he gives for himself in the case of some random miracle worker. You might posit extraterrestrials. You might just remain agnostic, right? But that's not the situation, I don't think, with Jesus. With Jesus, I think we have a whole lot more information than that. For example, I think we have prophecy that testifies to who Jesus is. But even if you don't like prophecy, I think that it is universally understood among scholars that Jesus thought himself to be God's special agent to bring about God's kingdom on earth. He went around all his life as if he had a sign saying, just watch my life and see what happens. And then and then you add to that, not only was he dead and buried, and Tacitus even talks about Pontius Pilate, and they killed Jesus on all these things. And then you have all these people that are willing to suffer afterwards, and some of them did die for their belief in Jesus. You have all of that added to it. It's just a much bigger case. This is what he's saying about himself, but then here are some things that seem to vindicate that, some things that it doesn't seem like a trickster in those days could have pulled off anything like that. And then to such a degree that hundreds of people believed it changed the world. I just think there's a lot more there than just he's a miracle worker.
Yeah, I don't know that I would conclude extraterrestrial as being more plausible. People would say, well, that the extraterrestrial at least could have some sort of natural explanation, and then his feats that he demonstrates could have a natural explanation using means or technology or something that we. But that is a bias and privilege that naturalism hasn't earned in mine and Dr. Mike Lycona's opinion. Actually, that's an unearned conclusion to draw to bias naturalistic explanation before the possibility, especially not investigating the highly charged religious context, the prophecy, and all of that with the surrounding Jesus's not just resurrection, but just his life, death, and resurrection, and then the historical accounts of that. So I don't think that it's more reasonable to conclude an extraterrestrial as opposed to a divine eschatological agent.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a really good point. So I have lots of good reason to believe that God exists. Now, I understand that agnostics and atheists in the chat might not agree with me about that information, about that evidence. But honestly, I look at something like the Kalam cosmological argument. I've studied that for years and years. I've heard just about everything people say about it. And I look at something like that. I look at the teleological arguments that we have. And just with those two, and then the notion that there is a God out there is so likely to me. This is what I didn't say in my debate with Matt Dillahunty, but I was prepared to say if he brought up aliens and all the evidence for aliens and all that sort of thing, then I was going to say, yeah, I actually do think there's some pretty interesting stuff when it comes to reasons to believe that aliens exist. But if the people out there that are camped all the time outside the gates at Area 51 had anything approaching something as strong as these solid philosophical arguments like the Kalam or the teleological argument, you might find me with an aluminum foil hat, tinfoil hat in the desert tomorrow night.
The fact is that, I mean, when you look at the arguments for Jesus, God's existence and the resurrection taken together, if God raised Jesus from the dead, Christianity is true. When you take the case for that, and the case for aliens is eyewitness testimony, and the universe is so big it just has to be at some point.
Okay, and of course the presumption that first life happened here without God, so it must have happened somewhere else without God or something like that. Or you could say if God did it here, he's likely to have done it elsewhere, but then you have to justify.
Insofar as what we don't know, what the military knows and all of that, there's the apologetics case for God's existence and the resurrection of Jesus, and then there's stories and eyewitness testimony, which I don't discount, and the universe is so big, it just has to be. And I'm thinking, kind of to bring up Dr. Lacona again, when it comes to extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, he says that's wrong. It just requires additional evidence. But even if it turned out
sufficient evidence, you could say,
But even and additional, I mean, you can make a cumulative case, just like the resurrection, whether it's a minimal facts or even a maximal facts. But when I think about the thing with extraterrestrials is, even if you could conclude that any particular given miracle worker was an extraterrestrial, right? It doesn't follow that Jesus was. And so the existence of extraterrestrials showing up at Earth we've talked about this plenty on our podcast, does nothing to overturn my faith in Christ.
You know, though, what the notion is. The notion here is, look, you've got a naturalistic explanation, though it's fantastic. It's a naturalistic explanation, and naturalistic explanations are always more likely than supernatural explanations. And that's the bias right there.
Yeah. That's undeserved. And by the way, not all atheists are metaphysical naturalists.
Yeah, and even if you don't feel like, well, it's not deserved, it's still just, why privilege that one over this one?
Right.
Still, you got to make a decision.
Let's just look at the data, right? So I don't think that the case for extraterrestrials is better than the case for the resurrection. The resurrection case is a solid case. I mean, I know atheists are like, we pick on that. Yeah, we don't care. We knock your stuff down all the time. That's why nobody poses alternative hypotheses like extraterrestrial anymore, because it just doesn't commend itself to the level that the arguments for the resurrection do. That's why these hypotheses have stopped being offered. So I don't know that it'd be unreasonable to conclude that such a miracle worker could be an extraterrestrial, but it's not more reasonable to conclude that than, if we're talking about Jesus and not just any religious figure, that's more likely than.
And people just think if they bring, well, I don't think this happens as much anymore, because frankly, I think apologists have been more straightforward about this. But before, maybe it was before it was really popular for Richard Dawkins and everybody and Lawrence Krauss and all to be like, yes, of course there are going to be aliens out there, or it's highly likely, or I expect it, or whatever, that before the people used to always say oh, well, then why don't you believe in aliens or something? And it's like, well, dude, I'm not saying I don't believe in aliens. And here's another one that comes up. Gregory Fisher says, what about arguments for the existence of Bigfoot? And I didn't know this was going to be that kind of a show, but I'm more than tickled that we're having that kind of a show. Yeah. And here he says, what about arguments for the existence of Bigfoot? Oh, by the way, we'll kind of come back to Gregory Fisher, but Set Free Media, thank you so much. They have a pretty massive Twitter following for our sphere, and they shared our video yesterday. I sure appreciate that. Thank you, Set Free Media. But back to Gregory Fisher. So I have taken I think a decent consumer-based look at the Bigfoot evidence,
Loch Ness Monster?
and I don't think there's anything
You good with
near a
Nessie?
compelling evidence for Bigfoot. Our underwater ally. I don't think there's good reason at all to believe in Nessie.
So if Jesus wasn't,
But aliens,
yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I guess in a sense, if you're a Mormon, there's a sense in which Jesus is an extraterrestrial, right?
Well,
So-
yeah.
So, I mean,
But I mean, we obviously could
the
say
father from Kolob, or
Kolob.
Kolob,
Yeah.
So I mean,
But Jesus, we could say, well, he's otherworldly in a sense, but then in the other sense, he's like eminently one of us. He's Jesus is a man.
Jesus is fully man. So
this is actually what's wonderful about it. Beautiful, one of the things. I'm Nate 2D2 says, Braxton, I'm not saying Jesus is an alien, but Jesus is an alien. Okay, all right. Well, let's get back to some more comments. And see, we're throwing yours in there too. All right, here's the second thing that was said by Coffee Beverage. How do you respond to people of different faiths claiming they have had ineffably powerful experiences that they believe to undeniably be from the divine and which have confirmed to them that they are on the correct/right religious path?
Yes, I love this question because here's the thing about this. We've talked about this in previous episodes. The Christian is not obligated to deny supernatural or mysterious or occurrences or transcendental experiences or whatever that people may mistake for being the wrong thing, because we believe in the existence of supernatural beings that are supervened on top of the natural world, right? So what I want to do is I want to compare worldviews. I want to compare evidence, okay? Because my Christian faith can account for mysterious or supernatural or transcendental experiences or even witchcraft or things like that. The Bible gives us a basis for we would call it demonic activity that can account for certain things that are intended to deceive, that are beyond natural occurrences. So it takes us back to arguments and evidence and worldview comparison. So I don't have to discount somebody having some sort of
but
claim.
and then in addition, that's obviously the right answer. But then in addition to that, well, you did say this kind of. You said the whole thing, but like I want to make it clear for the Coffee Beverage what our position is, because I think we have the same position, which is, I believe I have had a few times like what I think can rightly be called a religious experience, like an experience.
You've also had a demonic attack,
but I feel like
rightly call it.
I do think I've had that.
Yes,
yeah.
I think a lot of Christians have.
I should have talked about that with Lycona yesterday, but but I've had some of those. But Jonathan McClatchy, for example, is someone who says never had an experience like that, never felt really anything like that. And I think that happens to some people. I don't think that means God doesn't love Jonathan McClatchy, right? I think that just means that people are different, and people may be, more. God may deal with people differently. Some people are more sensitive to that sort of thing,
right? And like, and on the other side of things, from a Christian perspective, it's not just deceitful activity from demons or whatever. It's also, the Holy Spirit working. And you and I are both continuationists, yet we never got any of the cool superpowers like some of our charismatic friends. So, but God, I don't think God loves me or you less because we haven't spoken in tongues.
I don't care. He's gifted us for different things.
Right.
A lot of those people aren't apologists, right?
Yeah. I got the gift of faith and the gift of teaching. Yay. I mean, it's cool, but it's like, it'd be cool.
No, the gift of faith would be pretty, if it's what I think it is.
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to demean.
My mom's got the gift of faith.
But you got to admit, some of the more charismatic gifts would be cool to have.
Of course.
And for those,
I agree with them when they're like, don't you want all of Jesus you can have? And I'm like, yes. Please, more, please. Yes. But that doesn't mean he's going to give me what, they have. And this is actually, hold on. This is actually, go ahead.
I want to make one more point.
I see the passion on your face.
Also doesn't mean, as continuation, is that we believe every Christian supernatural story either. And so while I don't have to deny either a non-Christian or a Christian having a supernatural experience, I don't have to accept every claim just because my worldview can account for those types of claims.
Yeah, and I want to point out here when we're talking about like when we're talking about supernatural stuff that happens in other religions, it's true that we don't always even claim to have those feelings in our religion, not all of us. If you have them, that can be a great internal reason for you to think Christianity is true. And it may be a reason for the Hindu or whatever to think that their religion is true. So it's not like there's no value in it. And if we have the veridical, like the one that's really from God, that's fantastic. And if that sounds shocking, we're Christian exclusivists here. We believe Jesus is the way, like he said he is. Yeah. No one comes to the Father but by me. But the thing about it is, if you don't have that feeling, it doesn't mean Christianity is false. Not that you're implying that. It just means we got to now look at evidence, like you said.
Right.
We got to compare worldviews. And like Craig said on Capturing Christianity this week, well, you look for, are there defeaters to the Christian faith, and are there defeaters to Islam and Hinduism and Buddhism and all the other things? Turns out that, shock, we think there are defeaters to all those things except Christianity.
But this is a good apologetics,
except maybe one weird monotheistic version of Hinduism.
This is a good apologetics and evangelistic way to understand this. So when you talk to people of other faiths, or including Christian cults, like when Mormons mistake heartburn for the burning in the bosom, or something like that, you don't have to deny any of their religious experiences that they're clinging to. So when you bring in the evidence and the worldview comparison between the Christian faith and some other religion or Mormonism or something like that, you don't have to reject their experience as, well, that was just, you're mistaking that for something else. Mm-hmm. You can affirm that
it was real. You experienced
something happened, but let me give you a better accounting for why, given what I believe to be true, which can make room for events that you experience happened. I don't have to say that you're lying to me, that you felt this supernatural whatever, but I believe that was demonic activity trying to deceive you from the truth. And so let me give you the truth, and then we can look at the arguments and evidence for my faith and then your faith and see which one holds up better. So you can still, when you're witnessing to people that have had religious experiences, you don't have to always just dismiss it.
Yeah, that's true. Now, are there shysters? Yeah, of course there are.
Yeah.
Is that a bad word, shysters? I don't think it is. Okay. All right. So that's kind of our answers. A coffee beverage also said, I originally commented this on another video, but this was more. Also, I think Braxton is one of the cooler apologists.
I do too.
Thank you. Oh, so Eric Hernandez gets to be the world's greatest living apologist. The world's
greatest.
But I'm a cool one.
You are one of the cooler apologists. There's a lot.
Are you?
Huh?
Are you one of the cooler ones?
Probably
not. I
not.
think you are.
But no, well, he didn't say me. He said, I think Braxton.
He didn't say that. That's true.
Right. And I want to affirm that you are not my favorite apologist. You are my favorite evangelist, but not my favorite. Eric Hernandez will always and forever have that spot.
But I'm one of your favorite people.
Yes, and favorite evangelist and best friend in the whole world. And I already said sweet stuff to you in my Theology Geek business.
I like to hear it more.
Yeah.
I like to hear it more.
But look, there are a lot of people in apologetics who are great apologists who lack the cool factor. And we need to be honest about that.
Yeah, but I mean,
we need to maybe offer courses through Trinity of how to be more cool like Braxton.
Well, that's obviously absurd, but
is it though? I mean, Dr. David Allen has the preaching coach. We can be apologist coaches.
Yeah, well, I'm just
Here's because
we have a class. Look, ejaculate. Oh gosh, they got me to say.
Got you. Clip that out, atheists.
Oh my gosh.
Hello to my favorite Christian and Jonathan. Hello.
Boy, you really got it, didn't you? You got it. I feel like such an idiot.
Yes, because you always.
I'm good at that.
Yeah,
I'm good at that. Before street. Before street Ford or something.
Yeah.
I always, my record is marred now.
Yes.
Go away, you late. Oh my gosh, I'm officially old.
Yes. It happens to everyone. But you know what? You know what? It's because you're over 40 now. But you did.
And they love it. Look at them. Look. Sorry, you're forgiven. Bazinga, LOL.
Yeah.
Even Tim the Ancient. Tim the Ancient is making fun of me.
Yes.
Jonathan's.
I mean, it's not like that was Seymour Butts or something. You got had.
Look who it is. Don't say his name. And he might not want us to say his name. Can you see who it is?
I can see who it is. Roth. No, that is
it's Sensei Roth.
Yeah, Sensei Roth.
Sensei Roth. If you go back and look at some of our earliest YouTube episodes, you'll see Sensei Roth.
Yes.
And yeah, that's we miss you, Sensei Roth.
I really miss Adam, and you know, I want to see his babies, and I want to see his spouse Josie.
Yeah, there's 2 babies now.
Yeah, and
let's give all of his personal information.
Yeah. And you know, it's just, man.
Yeah, what were you saying about you being cool?
I love
that. We shot that
Sensei
one.
Roth, welcome back.
Oh man,
I
even
miss
the
you,
New
buddy.
Testament theologist is making fun of me.
Yeah. Okay.
All
let's
right.
get this back on the track.
That's the whole point of this show, is to not care about the track. Here we go. Cosmic Ninja left this comment. We all need to go to the Joe Rogan Experience YouTube channel. Don't do that, though. I mean, you can go to the channel, and comment to get IP on the podcast. Inspiring Philosophy, who's our guest last week on this show.
Yeah.
Podcast, and like other comments saying the same. All right, now listen to me.
Definitely need to do that.
Listen to me, Internet. Last week, okay, so I'm just going to tell you. Originally, I had a plan. I reached out to a youngish apologist. Okay, he's in his 40s. I don't know. I reached out to an apologist who provides evidence that
quit
often
clinging to the dream that we're still youngish. We're not. We're old men.
This particular apologist offers evidence that he was taught by his father to offer evidence that demands verdicts. And I asked him about this, and we were talking through it. And we talked about William Lane Craig possibly also going on, like trying to get him on the Joe Rogan Experience. But God has a way of making his intentions known. And I don't know if that's what happened here, but I kind of think maybe it was. Because last week, out of nowhere on this show, it was suggested that we try to get IP on Joe Rogan. Yeah, and as I think about it, he would be great for Joe Rogan.
Yes.
So here's what.
More so than William Lane Craig, because William Lane Craig, I don't think he wants to sit there and,
be asked, Dr. Craig, have you ever tried psilocybin? Have you ever tried cocaine, Dr. Craig? No, but seriously, here's what we're going to do. Here's the thing.
Dr. Craig is too dignified for that.
But not IP.
Absolutely not. No way.
So here's what we're going to do.
That's why I love him.
All right. In the description to this video, at the very bottom, you go to the description and just scroll as far as you can scroll. It is not an infinite amount of scroll. And click the link.
This has become a patron at... No, I'm sorry.
No, not that one. Actually, I'm sending them to somebody else, the biggest of all, Joe Rogan's YouTube channel. I've given you a link. This doesn't go to the channel. This goes to his website, and this goes to a page where you request someone to be on the show. Okay, so I've done all the work for you. You have no reasons to complain. I've done it all for you. Don't be lazy. And all you have to do is go click that link. You could even do it now. I think it opens in a different window. But if I go away, you screwed up. Bring me back. And you have to put your name, I think. But
that
I think
would be your screw
you can make up whatever name you want. Yeah, I think you have to put an email. Do that. But I can't tell you. I mean, look, use your own discretion. But here's what I would strongly love to happen: is a lot of people do this and recommend that Michael Jones. You have to explain. Gives a box. Michael Jones of Inspiring Philosophy at the YouTube channel, and then give the YouTube channel, and then say that has 220 or 250,000 subscribers. That's basically right. Approximately 250,000 subscribers. Why would you put that? Because can you imagine how many requests they get every day? It's nice to let them know. We're not trying to pump up Mike here. We're trying to let people know this is someone who is about as substantial as a Christian apologist can be.
And I would actually
on YouTube.
Download Spotify and listen to that episode because I don't have Spotify.
Oh, that's what you'd be willing to do?
I don't listen to Joe Rogan, but I watch the JRE clips every now and then. I'll get the same one where he's talking to Jordan Peterson.
It always goes back to the Jordan Peterson episode for me too.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay.
Listen, I listened to it a whole other time again the other day just because I enjoyed it. But listen to me, friends, internet, non-friends, people who hate me. Listen. Once you do this, because I believe you will do this. I've never tried to mobilize my audience really to do anything except pray for people. But I am encouraging you to do this and then say something about it. Maybe somewhere on social media with let's see, hashtag IP on Rogan. How's that sound? Mm-hmm. Is there anything is there any bad words accidentally? Because today, of all days,
right?
IP and Rogan. Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think we're good. Hashtag IP and Rogan. On Rogan. IP on Rogan.
Yes.
Hashtag IP on Rogan. Boom.
Bam.
No, stop. Don't make that post. This is official. We're figuring out together, all right? You're in on this. You're part of this. IP on JRE. IP on JRE.
No, Rogan's more recognizable.
Rogan's better. IP on Rogan.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. With that done, does everybody feel good? I feel like something happened just now. I feel some energy across the waves of the internet.
Yeah.
All right. Here's one from Zamo. He says, I am a millennial. That was his statement. I am a millennial.
I am a millennial.
Factually correct. Yeah. Straightforward, concise.
So is Braxton.
That's what I love about Zamo. That's what I love. Listen, I love people who are concise and straightforward, right to the point. We don't know why he thought he should share this.
Probably because I was trashing millennials like yourself.
Because you are a millennial, you feel compelled to post on social media.
You're an old millennial.
I'm barely a millennial. But he's barely a millennial.
Yeah, he's getting on up there.
I thought he was almost Generation Z, but it's so millennial.
He's older than that sweet baby face he has.
It's so millennial to make a Facebook post to say, I am a millennial, and with a exclamation point, no less. Quentin Moy says, I should really be careful with those now. Does heaven come with a complete mind reset?
No.
Because I find it impossible to imagine how any place full of people who quote unquote think like you people, Jonathan and Braxton, could offer eternal bliss. And yes, I am using quote unquote think in the very loosest of terms. Of course, we knew that because you put it in quotes the whole way through. Jonathan, what is your visceral reaction to this comment?
It's stupid. It's just stupid.
Is that the technical term in the literature for this?
No, I can't say that because this is a Christian program.
Okay.
But it's stupid. By the way, this just brings me, I spend a lot of time around Christians at varying degrees of skill with respect to thinking. And Christians are a lot of fun. We hear enough of what's wrong with Christians all the time. Christians are really cool to hang out with.
Yeah.
And you know what? I haven't been bored in, 30 years now. I don't understand people who say, I'm bored.
If you're bored, something's wrong, right?
Yeah. So
you've been saying this. It makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's the dumbest thing I've heard ever because, number one, heaven's going to be bliss in heaven because God is there, because we're going to be in the presence of God and we're going to meet Jesus and we're going to be able to be around friends and family and loved ones as this new eschatological people who are children of God, united in kinship, and there's going to be things to do forever, and that's going to be awesome. Now, IP on Rogan, audience. You're so funny, aren't you? You're so funny. Fine. Maybe it should be Michael Jones on Rogan. No.
You still say IP on Rogan, and if they do that, then
even if they do that, because that's actually a clever way to get more attention.
Oh, you
towards
like
it.
that one,
Yeah.
huh? IP on Rogan. What's that about? Oh, we're trying to get this guy IP.
It's funny.
Why is he called IP? Inspiring philosophy.
And you didn't see that one. IP on Rogan. You were going through. Is there anything
I
that could
did.
possibly?
I did. What's going on? Hello, McFly.
Time to go to Uranus, buddy. That's where you
Oh
belong.
my God, Jonathan. They've gotten to you now. $20 from Tim the Ancient.
Yes. Thank you, Tim.
We don't have our
Ancient.
normal place to put questions now, so
Can you read that text?
I don't know.
I can read it over here. Braxton is cool by my standards. That's not a compliment. Not sure if that counts for anything, but yes, please, let's give IP the Rogan bump.
Yeah.
They can get into all kinds of mind-bending topics that Joe will eat up. Absolutely.
Thank you for that super chat. Can you? And that was a big super chat.
Thank you very much.
Can you
Very substantial.
imagine? Can you imagine, Jonathan?
You can afford the glue to keep those things to stick over there.
They're fixed now. Shut up. They're fixed. But can you imagine them talking about IP's digital physics argument for God's existence, or quantum mechanics, or idealism? That would be fascinating. But also, here's what I love. You got a guy here who I realize that I'm probably upsetting the young earth creationists in my crowd, and really anyone who doesn't affirm certain things that IP affirms. But honestly, IP is pretty darn conservative on Christian Orthodox issues.
Yes.
And even the JDEP thing with Moses and all that. So I think that he is strategically a good choice for Rogan.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Okay. Should we do another couple of, and hey, if you got questions or super chats, we love those. Here's a question from Honestly Atheist. Okay, we can bring that up. What are some questions that you have never heard an atheist answer in a satisfying way? The impossibility of a past infinite cosmos. That's one. How you can have a reality of nothing but contingent things.
Yeah.
Not that they all say there is.
I still like the old. Why is there anything at all rather than nothing?
Why is there anything rather than
I've
nothing?
never heard a satisfying answer to that from.
Or how? If you don't like why, how is there?
No,
anything?
I like why. This is Richard Dawkins is one of the dumbest people on the planet these days because Richard Dawkins.
It's not
is one of the
controversial.
dumbest people on the planet these days because he was like, "What do you mean why?" You know, like acting dismissive of why questions.
Yeah,
talk about
that
I don't
is
want to
dumb.
think. Talk about think.
Yeah.
I don't want to think anymore.
I'll say that's dumb.
Yeah, that is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Is like, why? What does it matter?
I don't think Dawkins is dumb, but that's dumb. But I will say you won't find many atheists. Or we won't find.
Have you read his book?
Yes.
That's a dumb book. I mean, he's kind of dumb.
That
when he drifts outside of what. I don't even.
Dumb
like
is a
Fauci.
statement
when
about
was the last time he ever was in a lab coat? I have no
Okay,
idea.
okay.
So no, Richard Dawkins. I'm sorry.
Wait. You're not.
Why questions matter.
Yeah, I agree.
And people are always asking why questions. The people who don't like why questions are people who can't answer them, which is why they want to avoid it and poo-poo why questions, like Richard Dawkins.
If you'd written that, would you have used a poo emoji? The thing
Absolutely.
is
That's
that
my
people
thing.
make this mistake all the time. To say that someone is dumb, you might mean they have a low IQ, or you might mean that they're ignorant on particular subjects.
Yes. I said
Okay.
that whenever he wades outside
Okay, well, that's not.
zoology, even though he's the Dr. Fauci.
So he's
he
ignorant.
Never does. But that's just, no, I mean, well, ignorant, but also
It doesn't
dumb.
sound offensive enough.
Right. Come on, man. This is an entertainment show, too.
I'm
Infotainment.
I'm letting you say it.
Yes. He's dumb. Anyone who thinks that why questions aren't important
What is the
is a
thing
dumb
that you
person
think atheists
for saying that.
have? Don't.
I'm not
give
saying
a
he's
satisfying-
dumb about every single subject matter in the world.
What do you think is something that atheists don't give a satisfying answer to?
I just said,
I think
why
design.
is there something that rather than
Yeah, that was good. But how do we get on Dawkins?
because you well, if not why, then how?
Oh yeah,
And that's a mechanics question.
Yeah.
And those are important too. But I think why questions matter. And so
Yeah.
you know what? So do most people, except for the people who can't answer them.
But if
or
you
don't wanna
ask
answer
why
them.
does the universe exist, and you mean by that, what is the intent of the universe existing, or what's the purpose, or what's the point, which has to be what you mean. Well, that presumes some sort of atheism.
Well, he gave his answer. It's pitiless indifference, right? That was
Yeah.
his answer in his dumb book.
Yeah. We'll cap it off there.
Hey, look, atheists aren't so keen on him anymore.
You ever heard of? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is there not as many of them are going to defend him anymore?
Now I need to find one they love so I can call that person dumb. Because they dance for me. It's triggered. It's fun.
C. Denise. You ever heard of C. Denise?
Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite people on the planet.
Me too. Says, "Oh, Pritchett, you're a gem." Also, I'm loving your energy lately, Braxton.
It's the gender affirming medication, right?
It's the gender affirming. I am the most well-known, outspoken advocate of user of gender affirming therapies, so long as you understand that they affirm the gender with which I was given at birth, that matches my biology. And if you want to say, oh, well, then in principle, you affirm gender, you are for gender affirming drugs. Well, you see, putting the amount of this particular substance into my body is correcting for a deficiency and making it more like the high functioning beast I used to be.
Yeah.
But if you took that amount of hormone and put that into a woman's body, there never would have been, and there never was a time when she likely would have had that. So it's not like, oh, well, if anybody uses it, it's very clear. But anyway, yeah, that's I don't know how we got onto that, but I am the world's most outspoken.
Your energy lately.
Yeah, I feel energetic.
Hey, we've got a substantial super chat here that we need to get to. Woohoo!
Okay.
Caught you live. Yeah.
Rich O'Cat says, summer job is over. Glad to be here. And we heard that one. Okay, so we've gotten all these. Where's that super chat? Where's that? Anybody still with us? We're having a blast here today.
This feels
All
like
right.
an old episode.
Oh, I completely lost. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it does.
Scroll up. Right there.
Oh, my gosh.
Benjamin Vance. Thank you, sir, so much.
Benjamin Vance. I'm so sorry, sir.
Every penny has gone towards making people complain less about my background.
I'm so sorry. Yes, and I'm so sorry that we do not have a proper housing for your comment at the bottom of the screen like we usually do, because you certainly deserve it, sir. Thank you for that substantial super chat. Super chat's been down lately. I understand. I don't blame anybody. I don't deserve any of this, but I so appreciate it. You say, Benjamin Vance, why do you think miracles are not used more often as quote unquote proper evidence? They seem pretty reasonable to me. Also, keep up the great work.
I agree. Christians, especially in apologetics, shy away from the supernatural unless they have to. I'm like, nope, put it up front. We're Christians.
Yeah,
you know
Benjamin,
what?
Number one, watch the show from yesterday with Mike Lycona. That was what it was all about. And we agree with you. It's happening all over the place. It's happening way more than people act like it is. And they act like it's not, but it's happening all over the place. And it's very powerful.
You know what? Because here's the thing, Benjamin. A skeptic's disbelief says absolutely nothing about the evidence. It tells us about the skeptic. So use it. Because, by the way, other people have had miraculous supernatural experiences and so forth, and you can connect with people on that and then give an account for why that happens.
Man, I appreciate you coming on here, Ben.
Yes.
Enjoy.
We're with you, buddy. I think it needs to be used more often.
Listen, we got a new podcast that isn't out yet. Look for Halloween around that time. We're launching a podcast that is not Trinity Radio. It's a whole other podcast. It's going to be only 6 episodes long. That's the plan right now. And then maybe if people like it, we'll come back and do another 6 episodes or something. But listening to real people tell their supernatural stories, and I think that's really powerful. But check out yesterday's episode with Mike Lycona. And thank you for that substantial super chat. Glad you're here. All right. Let's see.
I was told to take the log out of my own dumb eye in the comments. That's a good comment. You should put it up.
Well, Pine Creek says you're the dumb guy. But we all know that's absurd.
No, there's certain things that I'm dumb about. It's fine.
That's not how dumb works.
And I don't really care if somebody says that I have a dumb log in my eye. Have you ever seen? Never mind. I was going to do it.
What?
The worst Star Trek movie of all time.
Go ahead.
Was Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, where they go and they basically meet this alien thing that's pretending to be God, says he's God and all that, right?
I didn't mind that one. I didn't like
Spock's brother
Insurrection.
Cybok was walking around turning everyone on the Enterprise into members of his little religious crazy cult, right? And he was like, talking about how he relieved them of their pain. So I was thinking when he said remove that log, and Kirk goes in and saying, I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain. Well, I don't want my log taken away. I need my log.
That's the problem, isn't it?
I need my log because it's not a sin log. It's a dumb log. And you know what? It's entertaining to the people who love Pritchett Prime. So keeping it.
Amen. I'm going to have to watch 3 hours of Star Wars to get the taste back in my mouth after that. All right. Thank you so much, Derek Beeler. Let's get controversial. Is student loan forgiveness comparable to Jesus' atonement?
No.
Why or why not? No, because Jesus is God. The infraction was against God. In this case, what we have is the taking of debt that persons do owe. I agree 100% that these type of loans are not things that 18-year-olds should be signing. I agree that they're in some sense predatory.
All the interest stuff in the fine print, let alone 18-year-old
right,
kids.
But all that being said, it is an agreement that you as an adult made. And because you made that decision as an adult, you ought to pay that debt back. And even if, even if you somehow think you don't deserve to have to pay it, the school did you wrong or the banks did you wrong, it doesn't mean that what you get to do is a further wrong by making people who have nothing to do with your debt at all now pay for it, which is exactly what you're doing.
I have a better solution. I agree with Tim Pool on this. Interest forgiveness. Knock off.
Yeah, you can't.
Not all of the interest.
No, I heard that.
But I think you should knock off a lot of that interest and just mount it up.
I agree, and that's a good region for a decision.
Credit card companies. And guess who stopped you from doing that? Joe Biden, by the way.
But I listened to Tim say that very same thing, and I thought to myself, no, because if you took away all interest, which is what he was suggesting, what's the incentive for the bank to give you loans to begin with?
I did not say all interest.
Yeah,
you heard
but
me just
take
say
away substantial
interest.
Yeah,
you don't need to pay back twice what you borrowed for a student loan.
Mm-hmm.
That's not help. That is predatory. And by the way, the Bible, if we look from a biblical point of view, charging that kind of interest is something that God typically frowns upon. That's unequal ways. So
Pritchett wants to keep his log, and they put a poo emoji. Draw your own conclusions from that.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was fun.
Yeah, because whatever caused the atheist to think that I have a dumb log in my eye, I'm going to keep that energy up.
Oh, yeah, we are done. We got through everything.
We got through all the comments.
What
Man,
time
you
is
didn't
it?
get any of the I hate you, Braxton. You're a Gish Galloper used car salesman.
I get those.
I know. We should.
I got the one that said that because of this comment, I don't even need to listen to you all or whatever.
Well, this is piffle.
Piffle, yeah.
But this is good piffle.
What is piffle? Is that a bad word? Let me look up the definition.
This is like drivel.
Piffle meaning. We're going to add value here.
Okay. Nonsense.
It's absolute
drivel.
Piffle to say that violence is okay.
That's a bad sentence to use. Violence is sometimes okay.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone believes that.
Yes, everyone. Christian pacifists.
They still believe it. They act like they don't. But the ones that believe there's going to be a judgment.
Well, fair enough. Yeah.
They're like, God can do it, but it's still going to happen. Okay. Did I close this out yet? No, we're still here. All right, good. Well, folks, I've enjoyed this. This has been a blast.
We have a super chat.
In just under an. We got a super chat. Are they trying to keep us here?
Trying to keep it works every time too. You got a super chat from meow meow meow. My comments.
Let's see.
Oh no, we need to go now.
Well, I think I did see maybe something toward the top, but I thought it was something that I had kind of said. But let's see. We're gonna do this meow meow meow. If real ghosts don't have, here we go. Here's one. If real ghosts don't have bodies or clothes.
So you got to put at Trinity Radio.
Yeah, you got to tag us.
Yeah.
If real ghosts don't have bodies or clothes, so appearance of clothing is projection of their witness's mind. Likewise, one may project horns on. Okay, so what this is about, Jonathan, because you weren't here yesterday, is Lycona gave a number of interesting supernatural type stories. One of them was very veridical, but it involved a girl having seen what she took to be like a ghost or something, an apparition, and a being with like horns and devilish type thing, like very cartoony chick track type thing. And I asked Mike what he took about that. He said, yeah, I thought it was weird, but she saw what she saw. But Meow 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 has mentioned that really a part of this must have to do with how the person that's viewing this thing is interpreting it, right? And so you could actually make sense of clothing, or it's like this demonic being is presenting in a way that seems a certain way to the individual, and you would imagine that it would want to presume to present to that individual in a way that seems scary to them. And for a little girl, maybe that's something with like a typical devilish like stereotype figure.
Drew, who is one of my favorite people on the planet too, for getting on Matt Dillahunty's nerves so bad in the debate that I will forever love him for that, has a question. He says, have y'all seen Elijah Stevens' Send Proof documentary? Nope, never heard of it. Braxton?
Who?
Elijah Stevens' Send Proof.
No, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, I won't. Also, I want to thank Adam Coleman, True ID Apologetics, for showing up today. We need to shout him out, and everyone needs to go
love Adam Coleman.
Subscribe to his channel, one of the best channels out there. And you can see me from time to time wearing the T-shirt in either video live streams on Fridays or in some of my Theology Geek Fitness. I sport the shirt. It's one of my favorite T-shirts. This is awesome army green shirt with the logo. Anyway.
Okay, so here's another one. Can you comment on Living Agent PSI? I don't know what that is. View of spooky encounters. And also the idea that veridical apparitions are filtered through one's subconscious. Yeah, so like, for those out there, like how, here's a way of comparing it if you like philosophy. The whole Kantian thing of like, you have your apparatus for intaking information, and that apparatus has like multiple senses, right? We can touch, we can smell, we can see. But we know that there's like other stuff out there to perceive about every imaginable object. And if we could see with eyes that see radio waves or something, who knows what all craziness we would see. And so we have senses that we have. And so you take in the external world into your conscious experience, and how you think about it isn't really the way the thing really is. It's the way the thing is given your sensory inputs. A good way to think about it might be like if you imagine a closet opens in someone's kitchen, and there are all these shelves, and there are all these glass bottles, and they're all shaped differently. Some are shaped kind of like a snake going up, or some of them are triangles. Some of them are, all kinds of shapes. And you put fluid into all these shapes. Well, the fluid is what the fluid is, but when you put it into those shapes, it takes the form of those shapes. And in a certain way, when you look at the external world, what you take in your conscious experience, like when I imagine Jonathan Pritchett, I'm not really imagining what he actually is like in himself. I'm imagining, what is it, Kant called that, like the ding sum or something like that. But what I'm imagining is Pritchett as I have experienced him through my particular inputs, sensory inputs. In a similar way, when someone experiences an apparition, that apparition, whatever it is in itself, is experienced through the inputs or other internal cognitive processing that a person has. I think that's what Meow is hinting at, is that, so like when you see something weird, when someone talks about seeing like a devil or whatever, it could be that that's their, kind of like we talked about a minute ago, but it could be that that's their intake.
Our friend from the Bible Brodown is also in the chat. Matt Chisholm wants to know when the podcast is going to be out.
He has heard some clips from the podcast, and he gave me a big thumbs up and said, I need 8 hours of this now. That's what he said. And Matt Chisholm's no joke. When he doesn't like something, he'll tell you. That's true. I'm pretty excited about this.
Which is why I've never heard anything but compliments.
Yeah, and so we're gonna have that. Look for around Halloween. It's gonna start. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Trinity Radio. What do you think of Kirkanen's multidimensional monism?
What do you think about that, Pritchett?
I don't know.
I have no idea what that
he
is.
has this. I'm guessing it has something to do, instead of substance dualism, it's monism, singular substance yet cross. I don't know. I have a book of his on I know that he's a theologian, and he has books on various subjects in systematic theology. I know I have one on my shelf that I haven't looked at yet. I know that New Testament Theologist is a big fan of, and he always tells me to
feel free to speak to that.
Yeah, tells me to read his work, but I have a stack of books that, so I don't know much. I've only read something by him that was in a multiple views book a long time ago. Can't even remember. Lutheran guy, I think.
Well, yeah, Matt Chisholm says this is a fact that he said that. I need 8
Yeah, the
hours
clips have been really interesting, and then, but you premiered the clips too soon, too early, because then there was never the thing. There was never the show.
Yeah, let me show something real quick.
So you get people excited, and then they forget.
Well, we're gonna,
that's just bad
They
marketing.
teased Black Widow for like 4 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
look how that underperformed.
Not like Batgirl.
That never performed.
We'll all see it one day, I believe.
Yeah, it's like the rest of my First Peter commentary, right?
Your First Peter commentary is the Batgirl of the theology world.
Yes.
So woke that it couldn't be released. Oh,
Apparently.
No, I'm gonna. I want to show y'all something. Wait, finished. Let's see. I'm going to show you. This is okay. I'm not going to show you all this video, just like the first 10 seconds. So just hang with me, okay? This is insider stuff for Trinity Seminary. Look at this. Come on. Let's do it. Oh, it's not up front. Pritchett, talk about something. You're the co-host.
I don't even know what you're doing.
Just talk
I'm trying to figure out, what are you doing?
This. It's not
Okay.
there.
Yeah, you're not doing anything except wasting everyone's time.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, this is what happens when, okay, here's a question. Oh, no, that was the same question I just asked. Well, it seems like everyone else is having a good time in the chat, not caring what we're doing and messing up anyway. So
They are. I mean, we've completely messed up the stream here.
yes, we didn't even have an intro, which I think, if the intro is not honey, you don't need one. But, whatever.
I don't even know if I think they can hear you still.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a super chat from Eddie Vasquez. He says, praise the Lord. Amen. Praise the Lord. Are you going to put that on the screen?
Hold on. I got to get back to... I
have no idea what you're doing. They can see you, probably hear me, and wonder...
Here we are.
Okay.
I was going to play a video. Look, here's the bottom line. I was just going to show you. Look, this guy... Let me see. This guy... Yeah, there we go.
Andy Armstrong.
Yeah, you know Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Andy is... that's Andy Armstrong. For those of you that are Trinity students, I know some of you are here. Andy is...
That's the guy you talked to on the phone.
Yeah, he's
Sometimes.
one of our student services guys.
Yeah.
And he is going to be my co-host. We're not going to do anything nearly like what we do on Trinity Radio, but me and Andy are going to talk about the cases briefly in each episode that we're discussing in the new Supernatural Stories.
Yeah, so you're going to
podcast.
put... I already read it, but put his super chat up so that
Eddie?
he gets his recognition.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Thank you so much for that super chat.
Yeah.
I like the little profile picture. I had a question. Lol.
Pritchett, I care what you're doing. Praise the Lord.
Well, that's one of us.
All right, folks, this has been a blast.
And
We're
went
gonna
off the rails at the end, so sorry about that.
It's the Friday live stream. Who knows what's going to happen? Remember to go to the Joe Rogan Experience using the link at the bottom of the description to this video, the very, very bottom. Click that link. Go to Joe Rogan. Recommend Inspiring Philosophy. Mention that he's got 250,000 subs. Maybe mention that he's been on a TED Talk.
And get IP on Rogan trending on Twitter.
I must confess something. Dogs are better than cats. That's not a confession,
Yes,
meow.
that's just
That's not a
objective-
confession. That's an objective statement about the nature of reality.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next time on Trinity. Here's that extra energy, C. Denise. Radio.